The frozen northern oblast of Kislev has always been a wild, untamed landscape where the very earth bucks and heaves, rebelling against the predations of chaos. But what happens when the land embraces the taint, when the spirits of Gur are called to join in the slaughter? The incarnate elemental of beasts will join packs of Beowulfs and Ostankya the Crone in defense of the motherland, stark reminder to the bright herds of the Drukless Forest that goats and cows aren't predators but prey. The veil has been lifted, and Shadows of Change gameplay will be going live on the channel all this week, with today and tomorrow both serving as double features, if my editing software can stop crapping its pants. We have not seen much of the Hag Mother yet, so figured she might be a good one to showcase first, and indeed, the units she'll be fielding for Kislev are pretty cracked. She is bound at all times to her chariot, pulled by two things in the woods, the Mordheim Beowulfs, from which she can fire magical artillery and spells from her bubbling cauldron. She is quite expensive, pushing 2,400 gold, but has a lot of utility with the AoE heal from her classic Mushroom Goulash, and can unleash a damaging but extremely inaccurate Spirit Bear magic missile. Combination of shadows and beasts for magic today: Amber Spear, Enfeebling Foe, and Flock of Doom, with an innate 10% ward save built in. She may look like a granny, but she has all the tools to kick your fanny, and with 30 bonus versus infantry and almost 60 charge, all the while popping off drive-by shootings like it's South Central LA, the pain can start kicking in pretty quick. She'll be supported by a unit of Warbear Riders, blending the might of Gospodar nobility with the primal rage and predatory instincts of forest creatures, like these things in the woods. This unit is scary. They're like flesh hounds with AP and bonus versus infantry for 700 to 750 gold, and they're joined by their ROR counterparts, which have even better stats, and the Dark Blood Tainted contact effect, which entirely prevents healing if they start munching on you, which, as you might expect, will make them an auto-include in a lot of Kislev armies. But even they are not the apex predators on this particular battlefield. The Wendigo, the Horned Man, the Faceless Hunter, is ready to unleash the winds of Gur as possibly the premier monster in this entire DLC. It is the Incarnate Elemental with a whopping 97 melee attack against large targets and a passive Flock of Doom that mortis drains all nearby enemies until it drops below 25% HP. It's also supposed to have Unbreakable, which will get fixed at some point. It doesn't have it right now, but with a 105 leadership base, it already functionally is. It is not only available to Kislev, though. The Beastmen can also feel this freak of nature as well, where there should be a lot of competition between it and the Gorgon for supremacy, especially when it comes to killing large targets and dueling enemy monsters and heavily mounted lords. Something we'll be testing out here. There are also some new RORs, first of which are the Watchmen and the Knight Armored Cossars. It's the melee-only regiment with dual ice swords, Frenzy, Frostbite, and Rabble Rouse for granting ITP to friendlies. Great stats and killing power, but lacking the pistol of the regular variant. You're going to see them a lot, perfect for chaff clearing against low armor units, which the Beastmen are known for fielding. Across the way, Oradel Sakeo leads the Bray Herds with the Great Bray Shaman, Pan's Pelt, Amber Spear, and Distorted Reality. Quite the monster mash as well. Chaos Spawn and a Cannibalistic Gorgon. Lacks the Mortis, but has powerful built-in regen when feasting in melee, so we'll see if that allows it to outduel the Incarnate Elemental. And on the left flank, the Broodmother Jabberslythe, spurting bile blood and generally being one of the foulest creatures in the entirety of the setting. It drives madness wherever it marches, supported by Zongors. Blessed by Tzeentch, they revel in the casting of magic and become stronger when spells start flying, and of course have that barrier overshield. So those are the builds. Let's see which beasts have what it takes to become top dog in this one, and there are a lot of powerful single entity monsters that could make a big impact in this one. And one of the biggest things I really wanted to test out was whether the Gorgon or the Incarnate Elemental beasts would have the upper hand in a anti-large type of duel. Bray Shaman will draw first blood with Amber Spear, instantly killing 5 armored Cossars, while the Hag Mother wheels into position with her Beowulfs, start dropping those Protoss over shields. She has a couple ways to do that, and is synergized quite well together because she can fire her Cauldron while on the move and in the midst of charging, which in this case can dissipate Zangor overshields before she slams directly into the ranks and starts bullying them in melee. Naturally would have to be very careful of mass and speed from stuff like Razorgore, Spawn, or the Mighty Gorgon, whose bells may just hold doom for Grand Mustanky Legs, should she find herself tied up and being beat down by that 4-armed creature. No idea if that's what she's into or not, but hey, we don't kink shame here. For now, Kislev army is sitting back, kind of luring the Beastmen into an ambush, where the Incarnate can then spring from its hiding place in the woods and start ripping into the Bray Herde's right flank. But Kislev don't have a lot of shooting or cav, which are their typical staples. Instead, they're relying on melee killing power here, and that combination of the Watchmen dual swords with Frenzy and the Beowulfs is extremely potent for carving a hole in an enemy battle line, but the Jabberslythe can do the exact same thing on the Kislev right. Now when it comes to Zongor, I do feel there were some missed opportunities with this unit to give them a bit more of their own identity. I've always thought of them as elite Bestigors, rather than mid-tier infantry or gore, which they are in Shadows of Change, and giving them dual swords or great weapons would have made them more unique on the Tzeentch roster as well, which is saying nothing of the visuals and opportunity for Skyfires on discs with range attacks and all of that. But while they're okay for the price and can certainly hold a line, they will not perform well when the things in the woods descend on them from the tree line, and with a hammer and anvil, basically a full pincer maneuver from those Mordheim Beowulfs. It's bad news bears for the Zongor, and now the Incarnate Elemental Beast has let loose with its rampage into the rear of the Chaos Spawn, and it can basically solo that entire unit, but there are Warbear Riders on the way as well, and that's really the core of this Kislev army. Besides the Beowulfs for all their infantry killing power, the Warbear Riders and the Incarnate Elemental together give so much bonus versus large that if they work in tandem, it's going to be hard for the Beastmen to deal with those units, which is why, for now, they're focusing on the infantry and clearing out as much of that as possible. Just saw the common targeting issue for the Spirit Bearer Magic Missile from Snaky Legs. Center of the Zongor formation has been butt blasted into the next dimension. The Beastmen are making a lot of headway where the Gorgon and Jabber are fighting back to back. Chaos Spawn are toast. This is a cosmically bad matchup for them, with the Bloody Hidesman on one side and Elite Warbears on the other. Every swipe of its claws, rending reality and letting loose the vibes of 311. You know, amber is the color of its energy, and visually it is a stunner. Glowing primeval eyes of rage and hunger. It should be able to finish off those Chaos Spawn with the Warbears momentarily, while the Mordheim Beowulfs make it into the Beastmen backline and start feasting on some Ungor archers. Bit far from the main line, would have been hard to support them with the Centaurs anyway. There are a few Centaurs that are in reserve, but it's a cav unit that may not actually match up too well against Beowulfs, even though they are anti-infantry focused and AP majority. They just have such high weapon strength and decent leadership. They do a lot of damage against pretty much all targets, and of course, if they get on top of the Gorgon, could stop it from healing at all. No strength from flesh if they're nibbling at your heels. Jabberslythe is doing fantastic though, ripping through the armored Kossars into the backline to deal with the rest of the Kossars. Kislev will be able to hold the line a little bit better than the Beastmen because of their Buy Our Blood passive, which of course will make them unbreakable once they drop low in leadership and HP. And a big hammer and anvil coming in from the things in the woods. The two single entities for the Beastmen have not been countered at all yet, and the Great Bray Shaman is riding around town, the girl I love, and he's absolutely smashing through everything he touches. But we have a kaiju battle on the way. It's been building and brewing, like the bubbling cauldron of the Hag Mother, who's been flock-a-dooming everything in sight, weaving her way in and out of the scrum just like the Tuskor Chariot. But now that the Warbear Riders and the Incarnate are free, their plan is to roll from Chaos Spawn to Chaos Spawn, deleting from them from the game. Unless the Gorgon can maybe make a play here and bring down the Beast. So the Incarnate Elemental is kind of baiting the Gorgon in right now, trying to pull it closer to the Warbear Riders so they can get a full surround off and not have support from the monstrous infantry. Buy Our Blood has activated for a few of the infantry stuck in the scrum, while the Gorgon and its forearm monstrosity tears them apart. Here come the Centaurs, and here comes that passive Bound Flock of Doom, which is 8 to 16 DPS, and that will stack up over time, especially if a lot of units are around that unbreakable single entity monster. It's all feast, no famine for the Beowulfs, eviscerating routing troops as they break off from the protection of the Jabberslythe and Gorgon. The Beastmen have won the infantry combat, while Kislev certainly has the mobility advantage. Wendigo is going to open his chest up and Hadouken his nemesis, the blast of pure beast energy. Gorgon's like, "You dare use my own spells against me, Polta?" Sectum Semper his ass back with a bunch of spikes the size of a person. And the things in the woods have sync kills. Picking up and slamming these Zongors like the Hulk and Loki. They are pretty much going to finish off the rest of these infantry, at least out on that flank. Some of these animations are sick. Pan's Pelt buffing up the Gorgon, while Enfeebling Foe debuffs it. So we've got an important magical duel going on. Ostankya and the Great Bray Shaman lending their Sorceress Might to the Kaiju battle. Scroll of Shielding also hitting the forearm monstrosity for the Beastmen. So that is a 20% ward save, which the magical attacks of the Incarnate Elemental cannot bypass. That could be important. That could be game-changing, but the Gorgon is dropping low because the Warbear Riders are in there as well. And Gulyas, the Goulash, Mushroom Feasting Fermented Soup from Ostankya. Big AoE heal cast in there as well. Normally Incarnate does not have too much access to healing, although I guess Patriarch could help out there as well. But Gulyas is a nice AoE buff that'll certainly help it top it off and keep it in a healthy state. But it too is dropping low, well past half HP, even with the hail. But Gorgon is running now, and the Warbear Riders might be able to chase it off the map. That is a big loss for the Beastmen if they cannot get it under control. Amber Spear coming in, trying to bypass the physical resistance of the massive towering Wendigo, but I'm not sure that magic missile hit. And now Ostankya, Beowulf's in the vanguard, chasing down the Great Bray Shaman, who's running away on his Tuskor chariot, and would be wise to disengage if possible. I do think Ostankya would be able to win in a chariot duel between those two characters. Jabberslife is still full HP. There's still Chaos Spawn, plenty of Zongor on the field, so Beastmen are far from being out of this game as the Incarnate Elemental gives chase. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to bring the Gorgon back into the fold. They're getting close to the edge of the map there, and Kislev would be wise to chase it to the edges. Mordheim Beowulf with a full surround off on the Vorgberland Broodmother. Great Bray Shaman in there as well. And these Beowulfs have made a huge impact here. They really did rip those Zongors a new butthole. It has not been pleasant for the Beastmen infantry in this one. That mobility advantage for Kislev definitely been utilized to its fullest potential. And the Incarnate Elemental is back. And he's back with a vengeance. Such an intimidating presence. And of course, a big source of terror and AoE passive damage. Now going after the Jabberslife. And with a bunch of Beowulfs in tow, yeah, the Great Bray Shaman can toss some magic missiles into the fray, but he's going to whiff on them, especially if that Incarnate Elemental is moving at top speed. Pan's Pelt down on the Jabberslife. Melee defense, speed, and physical resistance. But the physical resist will not help against the magical attacks of the Incarnate Elemental, and as he's just styling on him, he might as well just raise his arms and T-pose at this point. Dry humping the air, asserting his dominance. This match is over. The Bray Herds are about to mass rout, and the Incarnate Elemental carried this one. Huge value this game, well over 3,000. Able to take out 2 units of Chaos Spawn and both most important single entity monsters on the Beastman side. Even got some damage in on the Great Bray Shaman and his Tuskor Chariot here at the end as well. And as it roars its primal fury to the heavens, that will be a win for Kislev in the first multiplayer match we upload from Shadows of Change. It was a fun one. GG to HDS in that one. And look at that Incarnate Elemental Beast. Only 25 kills, but silver chevrons earned and well over 3,000 value. So in this battle, what we saw from Ostankya was a very versatile Lord, able to weave herself in and out of melee while blasting stuff apart with magical artillery, good support spells, consistent AoE damage with Flock of Doom, and beneficial in much duels as well because of her Enfeebling Foe. Obviously, I think she should have her own unique lore of magic. Lore of Hags would have been much cooler than Beast and Shadows, but she was quite useful even still. And that Incarnate, man, that thing is a monster. 3,200 value this game. I think it's going to see a lot of play in campaign and multiplayer. Ostankya even starts with 1 in single player, so it can carry tons of battles for you, no question. Did have tons of help here from Things in the Woods and the Bear Cav as well. Things in the Woods are a really good unit. I think it's a tough fight for the Beastmen, honestly. Dealing with those Beowulfs will be challenging for a lot of factions, I feel. But the Gorgon and Jabber both had good showings. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and there will be another battle coming later today. Lots of unit showcases and fun cinematics on the way. Probably some campaign gameplay too. Hope y'all enjoyed. See ya very soon.